Good morning. Few updates this morning. Well, first, Steve Snell, County Judge for Williamson County. I have Sheriff Matt Lindeman with me, and I have Bruce Clemens with us as well. Bruce will be heading up the
recovery and damage assessment.
Yeah, the damage assessment and the recovery efforts for Williamson County. Start off with some sad news to report. We did find a second body in the river. If you remember yesterday, the first individual we found was Caitlin Swallow, 22-year-old from the Liberty Hill area. The second person was recovered late yesterday evening, and the name has not been released yet. Still working with the family as well. Today's focus is going to be on finding the third missing person, and we have reports that there might be an additional person missing, but I think Leander is taking the lead on that. Our focus today is recovery. We have an incredible effort today. We have over 100 first responders that have come to Liberty Hill to help us in the search. I know Sheriff Lindeman's going to give you some more details on that, but very thankful for our neighbors and our partners that have come to the aid of Liberty Hill to find the missing body. In addition, we're continuing to help out. We took on animals from the Georgetown Animal Shelter in Williamson County. We had 37 dogs and 75 cats that had to be relocated to the Williamson County Animal Shelter. We got news this morning that Lampasas needs to evacuate their animal shelter, so we're expecting more animals from Lampasas as well. Also very, very thankful for the efforts of Road and Bridge. We still have many, many roads that are closed, but we were able to get County Road 279 open. It had two spots, both a bridge and a low water spot that had washed out, and we were able to open up that major thoroughfare that connects Liberty Hill to Leander. So we will continue to check roads today. We will continue to work repairs. Those crews have been working nonstop for the last 3 days, and they're going to continue to work today. One of the main questions I get asked on how can we help, where can our donations go? We do have Central Texas Community Foundation. That's ctxcf.org. Yesterday we had a shelter set up at Cross Tracks Church in Liberty Hill, also one chapel in Liberty Hill. But right now I think the mode is to pause on the donations while we assess what the damages are, what the needs are, and how we can best target those donations. Again, if you need to report any damage, please contact the Texas Division of Emergency Management at tdem.texas.gov. tdem.texas.gov. We have a massive damage assessment recovery effort going on today. I think we have a dozen people from various parts of the state, including Houston. I'll let Bruce talk about that momentarily, but at this time I'll turn it over to Sheriff Lindeman to update us on the recovery efforts.
Good morning, everyone. Matt Lindeman, your Williamson County Sheriff. Yesterday we had numerous parts of the Sheriff's Office out working on the recovery. Our dive team, swiftwater rescue team, criminal investigations, our K-9 unit. We had drone teams from the Sheriff's Office as well as Cedar Park Police Department and Parks and Wildlife working that area. At one point our swiftwater rescue crew had to just abandon their boat because there's so much debris in the water you can't navigate it in a watercraft, and so they were literally crawling in and over debris searching for our one male flood victim that is still missing. At about 3:25 we pulled all those assets out because there was another threat of heavy rain and flash flooding, but state Starflight came to our aid and spent some time searching up and down the river yesterday, and we'd like to thank Travis County for sending that very valuable asset. Around 5 o'clock yesterday, search crews from the Liberty Hill Fire Department did find our second female missing flood victim. She was recovered. Our Victims of Services from the Sheriff's Office has been working with the families of those missing people to keep them informed and provide resources to them. we shut down operations last night about dark. I received a call yesterday from DPS Director Freeman Martin offering up resources from the Department of Public Safety, which we will probably take advantage of if this search operation goes on for an extended time. We're gonna utilize every resource possible to try to find that person and get his body reunited with his family. Today, there's a command post set up in Liberty Hill. We have personnel from the Sheriff's Office, Liberty Hill, Milam County Sheriff's Office, Taylor, Gerald, Hutto, Sam Bass, Georgetown, and Round Rock. As the judge mentioned, we have about 100 people dedicated to the search effort up and down the San Gabriel River. And we will continue those operations until they're complete. Thank you.
Do you want to talk about disaster assessment?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Bruce Clemens, the Office of Emergency Management. And today, as we transition over to the recovery part of this whole disaster, we have been really privileged to have the opportunity to work with the Texas Division of Emergency Management, who's been rounding up folks that are going to assist us. So there are about 24 people who are here in the building now that are getting some initial training. They are firefighters from Houston and from Galveston, and we're going to dispatch them to the field. And this is the day when we're going to be able to characterize where the damage is. We're going to look for damaged homes, damaged infrastructure, roads, bridges, things like that. So as we characterize this, we add all that up, and then that helps us with our justification for a disaster declaration with FEMA, which we're hoping is in the works now. But I'll take any questions that you all have about the recovery process.
Do you have any bridges right now that are out or aren't passable?
I believe all the bridges have been cleared and are passable. We've had some that there were concerns about, but I believe they are currently, we have some road damage, but we don't have any bridges that are out.
And what will it take to get the president to expand that disaster declaration from just Kerr County to maybe include Williamson County?
Would you like to address this, sir?
I can speak to that. Thank you for that question. So, spoke with Congressman Carter this morning, and he's going to take the lead on working with the government to get Williamson County added to the federal emergency disaster.
And is that dependent upon how much damage you find or the extent of the damage?
So the specific damage, I believe we have to reach a threshold. 2.8 million. And from what I've seen, I've been out touring the county yesterday and this morning, was in Liberty Hill both days. What I've seen, the sheer amount of damage to our roads, to our bridges. In addition to the bridge that had to be repaired, we have several small county roads that have suffered washout damage from the high water. So we'll evaluate that. We'll put a price tag on it. We'll report it to the federal government. We'll work with Bruce and his team and our elected officials to get any assistance we need from the state and federal government.
Is the county involved at all with making sure that the road closures are up on the ATX flood websites? We had somebody reach out to us saying that they're not seeing the closures.
So yes, and the public can help too. When they see a damaged road, we can get our crews out there to get barricades up, to get road closures up. One of the things we talked about yesterday was the fact that people are driving around those barricades. They're not heeding the notice. So even now that the waters have rescinded, we still don't know the extent to the damage to the roads and how safe those are. So if you see a barricade up, please do not drive around it. Please find an alternate route.
We're also having a lot of people reach out to us a little confused from the Sandy Creek area. I know that yesterday y'all mentioned that that's technically Travis County, but there's a couple that specifically is missing from Juniper Trail and Leander. Their names are Virginia and Danny Daly. Do you guys know anything about them, or are you guys working with Travis County at all, since it sort of is?
I do not have that information. Sheriff, do you have that information?
I don't, but we will contact Travis County Sheriff's Office and see if there's anything we can do to assist them.
Gotcha. Are you guys going to be sort of working with Travis County when it comes to that fine line with it being Williamson County and Travis County in the same
Sandy
area?
Creek, most of Sandy Creek is definitely Travis County.
And if Travis County needs some help, we're happy to assist.
You bet.
Do you have any people who are stranded at this point, like they can't get out of their homes or out of their area because of road problems or bridge problems?
Not that I know of. So 279 was a concern, but the park was open and the people between the two washouts could go through the park and find an alternate route.
Regarding recovery, are there specific areas where you guys are going to be searching today as you guys continue those recovery efforts?
Recovery efforts today are focusing on the San Gabriel, specifically the South Fork of the San Gabriel, from the county line to the west, all the way to 183. I know there's several missing persons in Burnett County as well, so we're in communication with Burnett County.
And I know y'all can't give the name out of the woman who was found, but can you give us the circumstances of where she was found, or what those circumstances were around that recovery?
Would you like to speak to that?
Her body was recovered found by the Liberty Hill Fire Department in debris along Little Creek.
Did it look like it was from a car, or like she was in a vehicle, or anything?
There was no vehicle in the area that she's associated with.
Can you speak on any other challenges that emergency responders have run
You know,
into?
something that's real helpful if our good citizens don't go to that area just to look around. Don't launch personal drones in the area because they interfere with our drone teams that are working. That is very treacherous. It's hazardous. There's all type of debris in the riverbed that we're working through, crawling around through and over. So those are some of the biggest complications because the bodies that we're looking for could be hidden beneath 20 feet of mud, trees, and debris.
Were there any safety warnings before this flood? How was that communicated to the residents?
Once we realized water was over the roads in Liberty Hill, we made every effort to contact people down the river, all the way to east of Georgetown where the Shady Oaks RV Park is. And thankfully, we did not have any loss of life as a result of those efforts by communications in the Sheriff's Office and the Office of Emergency Management.
Do you all feel like your warning system is adequate? I know the governor has said that he's adding this to the special session agenda and wants to kind of look at what could be done better to warn people, alert them, give them as much time as possible. What do you think about your system in Williamson County?
Well, we're happy to work with the governor, and it's good to hear that he's going to add it to the special session. We have a really good system in place, so we can draw when there's threat of high water or weather, we can draw a geographic rectangle around a certain area, and we can send calls to anyone in the area, as we talked about yesterday. Those warning systems not only go to the residents, but they go to anyone who's driving through the area that we targeted. I think the night of the 4th, we sent out over 1,500 notifications to our citizens. And, you know, I think, and this is a great point, we have a warn system, and I think heard less than 8% of our citizens have enrolled in that warn system. So that's just another reminder to engage with our warn system so you can get those warnings, whether it's high water, tornadoes, or any emergency, to where you can get that from every mode of communication we have. But like I said, 1,500 notices out. Door to door. In areas historically that are low, the Sheriff's Office Emergency Service went door to door to warn our citizens that the water's coming, you need to evacuate. If you have a chance, especially if it was our RV park, if you have a chance to get your RV out of there to save lives, number one, and property second. So Williamson County made a concerted effort to notify all of our citizens of the weather and the rise in water.
Was this the 100-year flood plan or the 100-year flood that Atlas 14 was trying to prepare for the future?
Well, Atlas 14 is working to redo the floodplain, so definitely the water levels that we saw this week that data will definitely be added, but they've been working on that flood plan for a long time. So trying to get the best data we can, and as Williamson County grows, as people come in, sometimes those developments do affect where the water goes, so you know, we're working with that. So that's a very good plan.
Any big areas of concern when it comes to just unsafe conditions out there that people need to be mindful of?
Very much so, and that's a great question. Thank you for that. We mentioned debris. Most of the time when you think debris, you think of trees, which the state of the river right now, all those heavy trees and branches are unstable and can shift and move, so it's very dangerous to be down there. But there's additional debris. There's all the things from upstream, there's refrigerators, there's parts of mobile homes, there's cars, there's all kinds of dangerous things in the river, including snakes, skunks, things like that. So we encourage people to please stay away from the river. Like we said, we have over 100 first responders on the ground. They are in a very dangerous situation to save lives and find, recover bodies and return them to your family. So ask Williamson County to definitely cover them with prayers to keep them safe, and we need all those 100 responders back. We have a helicopter today. We have 2 cadaver dogs. We have drones out there. The clouds and the continued rain are kind of hindering that efforts, but we also have over 100 boots on the ground. And we have several first responders in the river itself, which is still unsafe. And then you add all the debris and the storm damage to that, it makes the situation a little more critical. So please stay away from the river. And like we mentioned, like you asked on the barricades, please do not drive around barricades. We have everyone focused on recovering the missing. We don't need to add to those emergency recovery services.
When can we expect the damage assessment? Is there any time frame on that?
It's going to take a long time, at least a couple of weeks on that, maybe longer. I'm going to let Bruce talk to that. For those of y'all who don't know, Williamson County is very blessed to have Bruce Clemens on our team. He has a vast array of experience. He's one of the top experts in the state. He's got a ton of experience in disaster assessment and recovery, so I'll turn it over to him to talk about the timeline on disaster recovery and what all that involves.
Thank you, sir. So the way that the damage assessments work is initially we do what we call a windshield assessment. We take a drive and we try to identify specifically what is the footprint of the disaster, what areas do we really need to focus on. Once we identify that area, then we put these teams together that are about to go out the door right now. They'll be in teams of 2, and they'll be driving the roads and taking photos of infrastructure and homes. That process will go along pretty quickly. But once we have that initial list, and now we've identified the footprint of where all the damage is, then if we get the federal declaration, FEMA will come and join us, and we actually do a joint preliminary damage assessment with FEMA, where we walk literally side by side with FEMA representatives and examine all the damage, and we rate it and agree on it. And then if we get that to that threshold where the county can be included, which is the 2.8 million of uninsured losses, then we're included in the federal declaration, and that opens up resources not only for governments to repair infrastructure, but also they're limited, but some programs for individuals that can help do some repairs on their homes. They pay for funeral expenses, and there's a variety of other things that the individual assistance program can provide to people if we get the declaration. Okay, thank you.
Well, along that line then, how soon could we get the declaration?
Go ahead, Judge.
So I don't have a timeline on that, but we are in communication with, like I said, the state representative. John Carter's taken the lead for us. He'll be in contact with the federal government, and hopefully as soon as possible. Any more questions?
Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we close out?
Well, just letting you know, when another body is recovered, we'll let y'all know. We'll put out that deal. And again, Williamson County is very resilient. Very grateful for the response of all of our community to come together to help Williamson County during this time. And I know once we get specific targeted areas that the community can assist in terms of donations, volunteerism, targeted help, I know they're going to come out in droves. We're a very generous community when it comes to that. So, no, just thankful for the community, and we'll be in touch. And God bless Texas. God bless Williamson County. Thank you.